Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 1 hour live webinar session brought to you by kclau.com. This is going to be a live interview with Amelia Hong, who is the author of In Outcome, which is a financial planning book, or you can say it's a personal finance book, where I actually grab a copy of this book in popular bookstores. So here we are going to just discuss some of the best ideas that I personally gathered in the book. Pretty well written book though, and I believe all of you guys should actually get a copy of it. But there's a few ways that you guys can actually participate. So the first one is that if you have any questions along the way that you may want to post directly to Amelia, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box. And of course, if you wish to interact with us, then of course you can actually use the chat box. Alright, so comments in the chat box, questions in the Q&A box, okay? And I will be moderating the Q&A session right after this live interview, okay? So I'm going to just share my screen because I'm the one who is preparing the slides today. It is actually not so for most of our webinars, but since this is a live interview, so I'm the one who is coming out with the question. So therefore, slides on me. Okay, so this is actually the front cover of Amelia's book, which is In Outcome. And this would be the third edition. Yep. So as you can see over here, fully revised and updated third edition of In Outcome. So last time, I believe the earlier edition will be in green color, right?
That's right.
Yes, now there's a change of color. Now it's blue. So let's hope that I hope that the book actually sell well. But let's see. In live interview with Amelia Hong. Now, before I get the interview right away, there's a few disclaimers. Number one, of course, everything that we share here in this interview will be just for sharing and educational purposes. And if you find that anything that is useful, you can use it. You somehow benefited from it. Very good. We are very happy for you, but we won't actually take any commission from you. But of course, if you kind of like incur any losses from anything that has been shared, although it's well intended, then you take 100% responsibility for that losses. Okay, so which means 100% profits yours, 100% losses is actually your responsibility. All right, so that's the disclaimer. And right now, let's get the live interview right away. So of course, before we discuss the best ideas in the book, just want to know, Amelia, in terms of your personal background. So could you actually share very briefly what was it like growing up for you personally? Maybe you can be in the financial sense.
Okay, so maybe before that, because you said that you hope that my book would be doing well, I have to say it has. I've been on top one of MPH finance, business and finance list. I've been on the top 10 for a pretty long time. So yes, I think Malaysians find this book refreshing because it's for Malaysians. It's not written by, a white guy somewhere in the US that does not understand how we interact and how we grow up. So then back to growing up. For me, I had a sick mother since I was 6 years old, and watching her deteriorate to the point where she can't walk and I have to be a caregiver was unfortunately horrifying. And so my memories was that I would, maybe interesting for you guys, is I would walk to the market, and I remembered picking up some vegetables that was on the floor because that was free, and we just watched that and eat them. Of course, we bought some other stuff as well. I had to manage quite a little bit of money when I was young because my father was just way too busy working, trying to get enough money to pay for my mother. And of course, I grew up pretty quickly. I didn't have much of a childhood. I didn't play. I went to school, came back and took care of my mom. Yeah, so that was what it's like growing up for me, which then, of course, made me realize a lot of things about finances. That, it's a harsh reality, a slap in the face. I wasn't protected. I was extremely vulnerable, and that I think was an impetus for me to come into this field, even though I had no plans to come into this field whatsoever. I did a normal thing. I finished Form 6. I went to university, UKM. I did economics. I came out to work, and then I did my master's in Nottingham. And I came back to the workforce, and then I decided to, I don't know, for some reason, started to invest a lot. So because I knew I had to take care of my money in many ways. And so, and then I found this field. But so what was it like growing up? Hard. Very, very hard. Yeah.
But
Over to you, Ian.
yeah, but I guess, I mean, I mean, who doesn't like to have a childhood, right? But I guess it's a bit unfortunate for you. But the thing is that, yeah, from your book, I kind of like see that, I kind of like read that you actually have a Bachelor of Economics from UKM, and then you have an MBA from Nottingham, and then you are in the and then you went into the financial services field and you did quite well for yourself. I mean to say that is actually quite inspiring lah. I think you did quite well for yourself lah. So that is actually a very inspiring story lah.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, I guess in this field, I have 20 people with me in my team at FinAmes. So and then we do the things that they're very much aligned to my vision about what people need to do in their lives to get to a better place financially. So that was like, we go through all the trauma in the past, and it shapes us who we are, right? And I want to take those things that I went through, and then this is my ministry to the world, so to speak. People ask me, what is my life's aim? And some of you might have read this book. I had a very close encounter with death, and the learning and thinking about dying makes you want to do more stuff. You realize you don't have much time. If you make it very, very long, that change in your heart and your mind when you know that you are going to die changes a person dramatically. So yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for getting me on board here again.
No problem. It's always my pleasure. I mean to say, you have actually been featured once at kclau.com. It's just that it's timely for me to actually like bring you back after quite a number of years. Actually, we should bring you back more often than what.
Oh, thank you. I'm available. For you. Thank you, Ian.
Yes. So I mean to say we will cover your life experiences shortly during this interview session. We'll keep that for the latter part. But right now, let's just focus on the next question, which is actually on the book itself. So you came out with a book where the title is actually In Outcome. Maybe could you actually like elaborate or explain like why this title, In Outcome, and also what inspired you to write this book?
Right. The initial working title was Wealth Supplements, which is nice, but I had an issue with that name with somebody else, and so I had to find another title. And I love this idea of like a one-word kind of name. So some of the big authors, which I like Susan Cain, she wrote Fire. And all those kinds of really one word, they're very outstanding. So I wanted something that was one word. So I'm thinking about finances and thinking that the first thing you think about finance is your income, right? What you earn, because it's the most important thing. If you don't earn anything, you don't do anything, you just sit there and rot, right? So income. So then I marry that with the word outcome. So what you do with your income greatly influences your financial outcome. So there I just split one of the words out, so it becomes In Outcome. Yeah. So that's the title. What inspired me to write this book? First, talking to a friend. Let me see, a long time ago, during my MBA days. Friend and I, Wendy, went for a course by Sylvia's Fish Books about writing fiction, and I wanted to write, and we all went out to, one of the homeworks was to go out for a couple of hours and observe people and write and come back and share that story. So while I was sharing the story, I could see the faces of my friend or the group, and also Raman, which is the person that was hosting the session. They were like in horror. They're like, oh, I don't think that's good. No, no, you're getting it all wrong. No, you're not writing it well. So I thought, wow, since I can't write fiction, maybe I should try not to share it. So then I came into this field, and in a chance conversation with a friend, she wanted to write a book. I wanted to say, why don't we just write the book? Write our book. And then after I finished writing it, I met a woman who was once a Christian pastor that became a Buddhist nun, and then now lives a very interesting life. She was just saying, pick up that damn book and publish it. And so yeah, so that's how the book In Outcome came about. Thank you, Susan, that woman who told me to pick up that book and publish it. Okay.
I see. Oh, okay. So I didn't know that's the background story of how the book actually came about. All right. So without a push, maybe we don't have this a very interesting book in outcome already.
Oh yeah, yes. I think it's I think when you are prepared, success they always say is a intersection of preparedness and opportunity. So I prepared the book, and then I didn't not sure what to do with the book, and then somebody came and just said, there is an opportunity, go hunt for it, and which I did. And so this came out, which again I had no idea my life was going to pan out this way. Yeah.
All right. So personally, I mean, as I prepare for this interview, I kind of like flip through, I do not know, maybe some over 100 pages worth of content. And the book is actually it's actually very suitable for beginners because it's not too technical. It's not like it's not very heavy in terms of content, but it's actually very lively in terms of experiences, especially life experiences, the emotional aspects to finances and all this kind of stuff, which is actually quite enjoyable as a reader. But here we are gonna just that's why I just want to bring you over, and maybe you could actually share a little bit more from the book itself, some of the key ideas lah. I pick up a few, but of course, these are just a general guideline. But maybe later on, if there is one or two more ideas that should be, or you feel that it's actually more worthy for discussion, right? We can always do that lah. I mean to say, after we have covered what has been shared over here. So let's go on with the first idea, which is something that I find that is rarely discussed by personal finance books, because a lot of times when it comes to budgeting, right, most of the financial books, they seem to actually come up with a fixed formula. But the problem with people is that nobody's income is actually fixed. Everyone's profile is a bit different in terms of how they make their money, whether they are employed or self-employed and all this kind of stuff. But you seem to actually make an effort just to highlight that, hey, different people, different circumstances, how you budget your money is going to be very different. And I find this actually written in chapter 3, page 101 to 113. For those of you who bought the book, you can actually refer to that. But anyway, here, maybe you can actually share a little bit more about why you, how do you find out about these differences, and then, maybe you can talk us through.
Okay, so what I have experienced in my life tells me that everyone grew up with different circumstances. So something that fits one person will not fit another. And I carry that even into my company Fit Aims. I don't expect my people to sing the same song or to do everything that I said. But what I do want them to do is to have the same vision. How they carry that out, as long as it's ethical and it's professional, that's fine. So we go into people realizing that you have gone through so many things, and it's all your different things that come into place that makes who you are and how you face your finances. If you have a really easy life for you, then maybe saving is not difficult. It's like, yeah, sure, save. I don't have to worry. So then the thinking is very different. But let's just look at employed versus self-employed. What is happening right now is if you work long enough in the corporate world, you would probably realize that it's so thin. And if you don't like it, when you have to work on weekends, it's really torturing. So a lot of young people have wised up to this. They are no longer going to be like their parents that slaved their entire life into one company that did not value them. So they want to go out and be self-employed. And there's so many gigs you can do. It's amazing. Like the internet has opened up this whole thing for you. And go get it. But what happens is then you no longer have a fixed salary. And humans, we love structure and routine. I mean, some of you will say no, but actually you do. If you imagine a baby, if anyone of you had a baby, if you don't have a routine, your baby's going to be really cranky. I've had a few. So if you think about yourself, if you don't have that routine or even the salary every single month that's the same, it creates a lot of stress. And I became self-employed. And then I started a business. When I started a startup. And then I'm now in this financial services. So I understand that as self-employed, a different game happens in your mind. 1 month it could be 1,000 or nothing. In some months it could be up to 30,000. So the way that things happen for you is no longer like 70, 20, 10. I have to live on 70% on my important present life. I save 10% for my future life and 20% for my happy life, things that makes me happy. When you're self-employed, most of us don't put any money in EPF. I mean, that's not mandated. So no one's doing it for you. You got to do it yourself. When you have to do something yourself, it's like, oh my God, so mafan. I have to manage this, man. No need. And when that happens, you just remove a stream of income for your future. You've removed a huge chunk. But it's the self-employed individual. Some of us think that, don't kill me, some of us think, I have to stand employment. I'm going to be self-employed. I'm going to earn so much more money. And I'm going to be free. Yes, you are more free to work more. Like some of us don't even finish work until 12 midnight last night. I was still talking to my consultant. He's talking to me. So we suddenly find out we have to do everything. He's self-employed. From the sales to the marketing or to the administration to everything. You do everything, the one kind of thing. As an employee, you just do one thing and one thing only. It's a very silo and you keep doing it so that you're very efficient. Self-employed, you suddenly have to do so many things and then you are no longer efficient. You don't have time to even think about your finances. And plus the fact that you're so stressed 1 month this much, the other month a lot. What do you do? So my book talks about the fact that you've got to iron out your yearly salary your yearly income, so to be an average. So if maybe 1 month you do 1,000, 1 month you do 30,000, you average out is about 7 or 10. Try to budget your life within 5K. You imagine every month you only have 5K and then you work on it. Any excess, it makes it easy for you. Otherwise, you will be really stressed out. And the other thing about self-employed, you have to devote a lot more money into your financial future than the employed. The employed has 23% put into their EPF every single month, 12% by their employers and 11% by them. How many of us without EPF can amass that kind of money? I don't know. Ian, do you have a clue?
Not a clue. Maybe you have the stats.
Stats, but from people I notice talking to people is that they just they don't put money away. I've spoken to some entrepreneurs and they find it incredibly difficult because sometimes they're just eating peanut butter and bread. So it becomes even more important for you to manage your money because it's just out of equation. So being aware of that fact helps you. That's the first thing. Being aware when you're self-employed, you are more vulnerable. You become more fragile because the government is not taking care of you and your employer is not taking care of you. The government mandates the employer to put money away, 23%. So as a self-employed, you put and just a figure, you can start with 1%, but you should go onwards to 33,
Mm.
30 if that makes it easy for you. So as a self-employed, you can't get away with just saving 10%. You have to do more, and it's about 30%. And that's very painful for a lot of people. They go, you get it off easy. You chose this path. I chose this path.
Mhm.
It's harder for me. We have to put things away. We have to be stronger. That's just how it is. So if anybody is thinking, maybe 30%. How are you going to do that? That's up to you and your partner and your children and maybe your financial consultant.
Mm.
Yes,
See.
that's my take. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I
About
mean to say, I do not know. Maybe in my circle of friends, there are a lot of self-employed people. And typically for self-employed people, the funny thing is that although the income is actually not regular, like for example, like just now what you have mentioned, some months you are on a low month, some months are on a high month. But then the thing is that when you have a few subsequent high months, maybe 5 or 6 very, very high months, whereby you're making 5 figures, it's like 10, 20, 30 or something like that, your confidence goes up. And then you kind of like spend more, because now you are the next because sales is coming in, so now you are thinking that you are infallible, you are
yes.
untouchable, so you tend to spend more during this time. So do you have that moments, and how do you actually manage that kind of emotion if you really want to save money lah? Because
Okay.
sometimes when you make so much, right, you feel like, oh, you're Superman, man.
I think the employed also have this kind of feelings when they have a big bonus and the company is doing well. I can almost guarantee you that if let's just say they had a 10% increment, the next year or the next month, their expenses grow by that amount suddenly, and then they find that, oh, I cannot live below this. But this is human nature, and I think understanding human nature is very important, right? When a trend goes up, like the stock market, you think it's gonna go up forever. When your salary goes up, you have a boost of your ego or your confidence, and you think that my income, whether self-employed or employed, is gonna go up forever until I retire. And I like to talk about one part of the book that I read a really interesting article that hit me in the face. It's by a man called Arthur C. Brooks, and he wrote this article called "Why Your Professional Decline is Coming Much Faster Than You Think." I repeat, why your professional decline is coming much faster than you think. And Arthur Brooks went on to write other books with him and Oprah Winfrey, so you guys can check it out. But the gist of this article says that there are two things that happens in your life as you grow. So you start off with incredible fluid intelligence. Two types of intelligence. The fluid intelligence, that happens typically in your 20s to your 40s, where your brain is able to move very quickly. And then so work that demand that kind of attention, like maybe being an engineer, designing a product, being a fast-paced consulting work, like you can do that because you are still wired to be fluid. When you hit 50s, some people is even late 40s, some people is early 60s, right? It really depends. But I think by 50s, your brain changes its shape, and your intelligence, instead of fluid, becomes crystallized. It's called crystallized intelligence. You could go and Google that. And this brain wants to do something else. If you're conscious, you are going to go down some kind of hole. It's great. So what happens to people, like for example, a CFO? he's doing all the work and managing a lot of people, what happens is he becomes irrelevant to the workplace. His ideas are old and archaic. He's no longer part of the changing landscape. He can't cope anymore. I don't know, some of you in this I'm finding it hard to cope. So maybe what he should have done instead is to be a lecturer, where everything that he's learned is, and he wants to start teaching. You will find, something you say, what's old people it's time to advise me. Because introvert, they are more. It's because their brain is bristles. They want to teach, they want to impart what they learn to the next generation. So if you try to fight this, and some of the people I've talked to, they can't. They end up being fired from their jobs, removed, retrenched. So please understand that this might happen. When you understand that this might happen, you don't get so cocky in your younger days. You realize this is going to happen. You're going to go old one day. You're going to be sick one day. I'm not putting emphasis on you guys, but just look at stats. Data is very important. What is the data saying about when we're going to die, when we're going to fall sick? So when we think about truth, and the earlier we realize it, we start putting money away from those times. Some of us may not be able to put money away because we are bottom feeders, meaning we don't earn a lot of money. But I think a lot of people that are on kclau.com are middle income. People that are trying to make sense in this world with regards to money and yourself. And so understanding truth that's coming for you and now, like 10 years earlier, is going to help you greatly. So I didn't really find truth when I was younger, and then again when I was in my early 40s. Oh no, not really 40s. Yes, thereabouts. And then that helps me greatly. So my experiences help my clients or the people that talk to me plan a little better. You just need to plan a little better, and it's actually not rocket science. Yeah, that's from me about that.
All right. So I guess the whole gist about this budgeting thing is to always have a buffer, never to be under or overconfident, but it's just to have a sense of awareness that things could happen. All right. And no one is actually immune for it. So always have a buffer, all right, regardless of your profile. Or if you can have a buffer, please have a buffer. If you can't, then try to earn the extra to have that buffer. All right, so now we move on to the next idea. Let's see what we are going to have. Yes, so this could be a way for a lot of people to have some buffer. I mean to say, this is something that I picked up from page 132, where you talk about the coffee matching system. Of course, you give two tables. The first one is the coffee matching system without any return on investment. The other one with a 10% ROI. So maybe you can actually explain to our audience what exactly is this coffee matching system, how does it work, and what are the benefits for using this system when it comes to building wealth.
Yeah. So what happens is a lot of us can't function without coffee. If this is a live audience, I would say more than half of you put up your hands if I say who drinks. I drink. We even have in my office a free coffee machine and a person making coffee for us and sells that to us. So that's how much that everyone loves coffee. So I thought, why don't? So what happens? There's a book called by David. There's a man called David who wrote about something called the latte factor, and it's about saying those coffees that you spend on, you should stop, because that's a lot of money. I mean, that's true. It's a lot of coffee. Some of us drink a few times a day, so that's a lot. But what I'm trying to say is, you should punish yourself all the time. If you're going to be enjoying yourself, associate that enjoyment with your future. So if Amelia now likes coffee, or Ian now likes coffee, I'm sure that Ian in the future likes coffee too. So you want to buy that coffee. So why don't we make something happy in our lives and then project that for the future? So let's just say you spend 10 ringgit on coffee every day. Okay, so that's about 70 ringgit a week, about 300 ringgit a month, and you save that for 40 years. And I will back to why 40. You will have 144,000. Now that is if you don't invest. 144,000. It's too bad now. Because let's just say you start really early, you retire, and you take that money out and you buy a car. Who says cars live forever? They don't. In your retirement, you might need to buy one. And why 40 years? Because anybody heard of Warren Buffett? Yeah. Yes. It's like this really old man in Omaha who has been investing for a very, very long time. He has a company called Berkshire Hathaway, and he is so freaking wealthy. And a lot of us wonder why, or maybe don't even bother thinking why, but it's just that he is so wealthy. But did you know most of his wealth happened because he's just family? Oh, is that good being old? Yes. If you started very early like he did, he started 10 years old. All the time of saving and investing, and at 80, he's worth billions and billions now. Okay, forget it. We are not going to react there. Most of us won't. Some of us here listening might get left. But what we try to infer from that is that you start early and you start investing. So what happens with this coffee money that you've invested instead of just putting it at zero? I mean, please don't, because the moth is going to continue. You can go, whatever, okay? I mean, or just invest, try investing. I'll talk to a financial consultant and just invest. Your 10 ringgit a day, growing at 10% per annum, is going to give you not 144,000. You add another zero in the back. It's actually 1.6 million. This is how Warren Buffett gets so wealthy. We need to understand that. Oh, but there's a whole story about investing that is really difficult. They don't make money, this, that. But we're not going to talk about it now. But there's an idea that when you drink your coffee, you must also let your older self drink that coffee. Maybe it's not coffee there, maybe it's milk, maybe it's something else. But you still need money for this. So putting 10 ringgit a day, make sure it's not in 0%, make sure it's 5%, make sure it's 7%, make sure it's 10%. That all changes your outcome tremendously. Okay, yeah, that's the coffee matching system.
All right. Okay, so I just have one question on this. Is the way you put it, like you have the timeline, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. All right, and the coffee matching system seems to be more substantial at the latter years, like the 15, 20, 30 years onwards. But for so many of us, especially maybe the younger generation, 30 years is a long time, leh. I mean to say,
Yeah.
But the first few years the difference doesn't seem to be very meaningful or substantial. So what's your take on this?
When we are young, sometimes we think time passes really slowly, and that's true. Maybe because you're bored. I would just say for me, it feels as though it was just yesterday. There was this bright-eyed 16-year-old. Okay, maybe not so bright-eyed. Maybe bright-eyed because I was crying, because my mother was dying. Maybe 26 years old. I remembered sitting across the colleague who was 33 years old, and she was crying because she lost her baby. They lost, as in she had a miscarriage. And I was thinking to myself at 26, that, oh my goodness, she's so old. 33. Today, I'm obviously not 33. I am going to be senior citizen. Possibly going to get some free, I don't know what stuff that the government gives. It's really very quick. So we pay we play games with our lives. You either play the short game or you play the long game. You decide. A lot of us are very, very anxious to get to wealth quickly. I think there are possibilities to getting to wealth quickly, but there's also something you need to set up for yourself for in case that does not work. Right? There are many people being burned, getting into scams, going into businesses with partners they have no idea what it's like, having children and no idea what is it like financially, no idea how hard that is to be able to face an impending getting a job retrenchment and seeing your baby just born, watching your business go bust and your fourth child just came out. These stories I hear, and my time as a consultant for many of these people who so willingly share their beautiful and painful stories to me. And so people, we play the long game. And so when we do that, you protect the person on the other side. That's you, again, much older and feebler and weak person.
Nice.
Use your vitality and your youth to take care of that person. It's hard, yes, because if you've grown up in a very lovely environment where your parents love you and you have enough food on the table and enough pocket money, taking care of your future is something far, far away. And sometimes it takes the disaster to hit you. There's nothing like experiencing things firsthand. You can hear my stories, but it's just secondhand and it's not close to your heart. But when do wills and insurance get purchased or bought or written is when a loved one dies or gets hit by an illness, because that's so close to you. Maybe that's some of the journey that we will face. We will have to face before we wake up. And I have to face before I wake up. Everything I say to you, I say to myself. If it's rude, it is also the things I say to myself. We are creatures that just don't wake up until it happens to us. That's just how it is. So, goodness, did I even answer the question, Ian?
Yes, I mean to say it's good that you are being very personal. I mean to say, felt that you are really real in this thing here. After all, I mean, there's always, it's like we always can have the coffee matching system. It's actually just a system, and the maths is actually pretty simple.
So that's
so I mean to say that's just the finance part, but you have bring the personal part. The personal part.
That's important. I just want to maybe take a little bit off here because we are humans, which means we are incredibly emotional. And a lot of people, especially men, when we use the word emotional, they're like, so I don't want to deal with an emotional person. But think about it logically, you are actually highly irrational. And people hate me for saying this, but we are ruled by our emotions, most of us. You mean you never got angry? You didn't get irritated by that person that threw you off this morning? Or your alarm went off in the morning and you didn't have to wake up. That is emotions. And the faster we understand and become more granular in our emotions, meaning I can identify these emotions. I'm upset because of what happened. The faster you're able to get out and be more rational. Yeah, and that is also the secret to working towards your own financial health and wellness. So money is emotional. We can't live ourselves smart. So the stronger we are in terms of our emotions and understanding that, the better our money is going to be. Even earning it and keeping it and growing it. So also to that in.
Right.
Hey, you, Ian.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amelia. I think let's move on to the next idea that we have in mind. Maybe this is something that all of you should be, or most of the people will be like, oh, okay, what's this all about? All right. Now we are moving into the investment part of the book. Okay. So this is actually chapter 5, page 146, whereby you started to actually share about the financial aims investment portfolio. Okay, so you wrote about this, and maybe you just want to explain your side, from your side, the investment philosophy that you are actually taking. What sort of strategy is it, and what's the ultimate outcome? Yeah, the book outcome from this investment portfolio.
So typically, when people think about investment portfolios, they think about the usual things like, where do I put my money? Which geographical zone will I be in? Would it be global? Would it be Asia? Would it be Malaysia? Would it be, which is some other goodness parts of the world I think is really happening? Is it China? Because it's so bloody low right now. Sorry for cursing. You're still thinking about things like, should I be in bonds or should I do more equity? So people, when they think about investment portfolios, that's what they think about. I mean, you have to think about those. Those things are to be discussed with your finance, the person that's helping you manage your money, your investment consultant, or your financial planner, or your financial services consultant. But I'm thinking something a little bit more on the mental state of the person when he's coming to your investment. So the financial, I call it financial aims, because it's very much tied to your goal. So what's very important is to figure out, what is this portfolio for? And the answer is not to make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money? Everybody wants to make money. Your consultant doesn't want you to make less money, because it is not in his interest to do so. He'll lose you as a client. Okay? So, I just want to say, please appreciate your consultant if they have been very faithful to you. And listen to all the things that you've been complaining about over the years that you have with them. So the goal is very important. And then there are 3 things that are actually tied to your behavior and to your mental state when it comes to your money. So number 1, aims, aggressiveness, how aggressive you are in your portfolio. Do you want to be aggressive? If you say, I want to be aggressive, you have to marry. It's not all roses, There are many times when a partner wants to slap you, not physically, but you have arguments. So you expect them in your portfolio, not they're going to argue back with you. But the fact that I want to have high return means I have to stomach negatives, big negatives. If I can't do that, I'm not actually aggressive. A lot of people tell me I want to make more money, but they just don't understand that, no, actually maybe they refuse to. Because it's the same. I want to start a business. I want to make more money. It's the best way to make more money is to go into business. But businesses go fast. Same with the investments you're in. Some of the investments inside your portfolio don't do well because the underlying assets of the companies that are in them might go bust, right? So if you're in Magnificent 7 right now, like all the tech stocks, Facebook, etc., one of them can go bust if there is a legislation that says you can't do something. They might just die off. So, being aggressive means you must be able to take the ups and the downs. And what then comes to the next A is all for is aggressiveness, and then the action that you take. So it's action. So if it goes down, what do you do? Do you believe that the funds that you are in, even in stocks and some other things, come into play, you might have to loss, for example. Or but if you're in a basket of funds, companies, then perhaps what you need to be doing is it's possibly relatively cheap right now. In fact, some of the zones, geographical zones, are dirt cheap. Do you believe that they will grow and rise like the dragon over time? Then you continue to pump money in. What actions do you take? Do you do nothing to your portfolio? Do you invest further? Or do you take out? All that will have repercussions into your financial future. I don't really have time to talk about what that means, but if you let one bad experience scar you, for example, you start dating and you find that all the women are crap. Oh no, maybe I should say it the other way. You start dating, you find all the men are crap, and you say to yourself, I'll never date again. You might miss someone who's really wonderful down the line. Yeah, so in the same way with investing, if you stop investing and you just put money into your bank account that just sits at almost zero, you gotta just, your option is then to work really, really hard to earn really much more money than somebody who stays invested and stays sober and sane and understand how money works. So the action is very important. do you put in more money into something that's going to grow well over a long term? They might not do well over short term, but long term. The last one is attitude. What's your attitude towards your investment portfolio? Is it one of, oh my goodness, this is a privilege for me to do? I am privileged to be able to invest in so many people can't. I will be careful with where I'm putting this money, but I will be happy to talk to someone about it, to discuss about it, to if it turns sour, what do I do? So I had this example about buying the same thing and yet have a very different outcome. And it's about houses. And these are real experiences because these are my colleagues. I'm so sorry having to put you guys in, but I won't name names. So two people in my company bought the same property in the same apartment, not the same unit. They bought the same thing in the same apartment, but the outcome of both of them were completely different. Person number, let's just say Sally. Sally invested in it. She's got really upset because every month has to put money in and nothing is happening. The project just got delayed. She got complained and complained and complained, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, you can listen to her." Then she says, "Right, the property after it's done." The other person who sit very close to me was like, "Oh, it's delayed, right? Yeah, I got more money to save for renovating the apartment later, and then we'll see how that goes." So when the property came to pass, one person sold on at a loss. Was a great and the other one decided to take the money she's managed to save, renovate the place a little bit, rented it out. And then many years later, she tahan the bad property prices and she managed to sell it at the profit, plus the rental and all that. So it's not an attitude when it comes to your portfolio. It's one of negativity or is it one of positivity? Do you believe this portfolio is going to take you through? If you do, and you pay attention to it like you would a baby, like you would a project, something that you love, the likelihood is going to give you great returns. So this is what I'm trying to say when you're talking about your portfolio. What do you do with it? So it's the aims, the aggressiveness, the action you take, and the attitude that you have towards your portfolio. Yeah, back to you, Ian.
Well, wow, very well said. I guess it's time for me to just, I mean to say, of course, we got a lot more to say when it comes to investment, but guys, just want to recommend you to read the book because not gonna give you too much spoilers when it comes to the investment part. But I guess we can actually move on to the next one, the next idea, which I think is something which is more closer to your heart. Maybe because, so for me personally, I'm a big believer of insurance. All right, not so much about just insurance, but of course, if you can actually write yourself a will, do that. If you can set up a trust for your own family, also do that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about being. So it's about. It's not just about the offensive, which is about the investment part. Sometimes it's also about the defensive, whereby it's about
Correct.
being financially unbreakable or immunity lah. Let's put it that way. All right. At least from the word, it's immunity. Okay. But from my perspective, of course, as one who is of course, when I buy insurance, I mean to say based on the guidelines of what my insurance agent actually told me. If let's say there's something happen, let's say you are diagnosed with a certain illness, total permanent disability or death, what might happen, what will be the outcome, and therefore you need the amount of, therefore this is the amount of sum assured that you need for all these kind of eventualities. But then for you, you came from another angle whereby you actually went through it. So maybe could you actually share with us from your perspective, because you mentioned that in your book that you kind of like survived cancer. So how is it like? What's your perspective of all these insurance matters? And yeah, I mean, maybe you can actually expound to us more when it comes to all this kind of stuff. Should we be overly concerned about this, or are we doing okay when it comes to this, or should we be more mindful when it comes to these matters? Your take.
I love this phrase, this word that I read in a book by Nicholas Nazim Taleb, and that book is actually called Anti-Fragile. So the word anti-fragile is not fragile. And he talks about how do we build our lives and our businesses and everything that's around us that's important to us to be anti-fragile. So insurance is one of those things that is important to have that anti-fragility. And when I say insurance, I don't mean savings plan, because if you get sick, nothing's going to come to you when you buy a savings plan. So the insurance that you purchase should be very targeted towards when you fall ill. So obviously a medical card, so that you can go to hospitals. But we do have fantastic hospitals in Malaysia as well. I mean, if you can afford to purchase insurance, you should. And I think the difficulty for most people is that tightrope that they have to walk on to decide how much. So you have to look into your finances. You have to look into cash flow. How much can you devote to this incredible tool for your future? So I was very interested in building a critical illness cover. So I didn't bother with the savings plan. I bothered with the medical card. I also bothered with the critical illness. So I had quite substantial. Of course, being a financial planner helps. I help myself first, right? So when I got hit by cancer, it's actually really, you don't even realize you had, like, you don't really feel much pain. There is some bad stuff. Okay, so for the audience to know, I had colon cancer, and I found out because there's blood in my stools, and my doctor said that I should get a colonoscopy. And if you read my book, I explain a little bit of the horror I felt when the doctor held my hand and said that, Amelia, you likely have cancer. I have seen so many, I've done so many colonoscopies, and I know what it looks like. And surely for the lot of us, we can't imagine what that is like. It feels like the world has stopped. Everything just stopped. But I had a very different thinking in terms of how I manage it. I was very confident in the fact that I had quite a lot of insurance money. So I took that all, and I decided not to walk the path of chemotherapy. I decided instead to fuel my cells, my body cells, to be so strong that it would be able to fight cancer on its own. Now, I'm not saying you should be doing that, because you are not me. And I read not a lot of medical journals, and I argued with my doctors a lot about medical journals as well. So my path is that I believe that my body needs to be strong enough to fight. And so I went on that path, and that is an expensive path because it's not something many people have taken, and that's not covered by a medical card. So a lot of my money is being poured into buying supplements, making sure that I live a life that is multi-pronged to take care of myself if that costs me. For example, you've got to exercise, you may need to hire a trainer, or you need to eat properly, and your family is not eating the same food, which means you've got to do a lot of stuff that's different. Sometimes I have this joke. If the woman gets cancer, she's probably going to die off because nobody in the family is going to choose to die. My friend, he had a heart problem. His wife just changed everything. Everybody had to change their diet for them. So there's also something to think about as a woman. I think it's much harder for you, so you've got to plan yourself a lot better. What else? There's so many things. You've got to learn how to calm yourself. Maybe you need to hire a counselor to deal with the issues. I went back to work. I went crazy. I started a tech startup. I did more in my business here in Phoenix because I wanted to share this kind of stories to people. At the end of the day, what still matters is the amount of money you can devote to insurance. Too much is also crazy, because when you're very young, the likelihood of you getting ill is not so much. Maybe you need to wait till your salary increase and then you devote more money. And it's a lot easier. I'm sorry, but please maybe do it a little less. And that also probably help you with not getting too ill in the future. Yeah, so how much should you have? That is the conversation you should have with your insurance consultant, a good one that cares for you rather than his own pocket. Okay, how do you find those? Good luck. There are some that are really fantastic. There are some that are not well trained. So go ask them difficult questions, and then you can tell. I think your bullshit detector should be quite high by now. You've been listening to KCLau.com for a long time. Okay. Yeah. So how much? Start off with 1 year of your income, and then build it to 2 to 3, and especially if you're really really high ranking, it could be 10. Yeah, something like that. At the way you need to take care of so many things, it could be many many years. And if you have a spouse that does not work well, a lot more then. Okay. I hope that sort of covers something. I don't give specifics because, again, this is not a one cookie cutter fits all. You have to know yourself deeply to be able to be very successful in your financial life, especially if you're going to be doing it yourself, DIY. Okay, right. That's over to you, Ian.
Yeah. So as you can see here, that seems to be our differences. I mean to say, maybe it's just between me and KC. So we kind of like, our way of thinking is a bit more like, okay, it's all mathematical, logical. Say, okay, how much life insurance are we going to get? Okay, so we'll come up with a mathematical formula just to derive that specific number, the magic number, and then we just buy our insurance, or we plan our insurance towards that magic number. So that's how we think. But Amelia actually I really like Amelia's answer, whereby you can see that it's actually not so much about the formula, the mathematical formula, but it's actually more something which is actually more internal, which is more, it could be more
I have the magical numbers too. I mean, but what I realized over time is people struggle. They struggle with like 3 years. Their salaries are so little. 3 years they have to decide not to feed someone. They don't feed themselves. So I would say, I'm empathetic of your situation, and I think as long as you do something and get somewhere, I think that's fantastic. And then you review yourself and your finances every year. Do that. That's so important. And having someone that walks alongside with you is an amazing thing. We are not meant to live alone. We are meant to have our tribe. And go find your tribe. Go find a financial tribe. KCLau.com. I mean, maybe people are really petting each other. They know each other already for some reason if you met face to face. Be that for each other. Hey, you buy your insurance today? Oh, you idiot, is it not buy? Like that to each other. Be that strength for each other. Okay.
All right. So I mean to say, we have a few more questions before the Q&A. So guys, if you have any,
no time already.
No, I mean to say, we still have a few more, but then just to prep up all our audience, that Q&A is up and coming. So if you have any, don't wait until the end. We're gonna cover a few more, but then if you have any questions, just straight away post it in the Q&A box, because we are receiving some questions already. So do that, and let's move on to the next one. Oh, it's actually the final one. So this is actually towards the end of the book, whereby planning our finances. Should we do it ourselves, or should we actually engage a financial planner? Or should we actually engage, I do not know who, a financial consultant? Are they the same? Planners, consultants, DIY?
Okay. I want to ask, do you guys know how many doctors there are in Malaysia? I promise there is a reason. Does anybody know? Is anyone putting a chat out there? How many doctors there are in this country? Do I see any answers?
I don't know, but I guess you read a lot of medical journals. I guess you will know, but I
do know. I'll let you know. There are about, in Malaysia, there's about 70 to 80,000 doctors.
Wow.
People like me, financial planner, only 1,005. There are not enough of us to go around. So, should you hire a financial planner? Maybe not enough to go around. You probably can't even find one. I mean, you can. You just Google. But there are a lot more financial consultants out there that are very well trained, that can actually take you through these money matters as well. I mean, my team, we have that. Not all of us are financial planners. some of us are financial consultants because it takes a really long time to be a financial planner. Years of study, and then you have to be a securities commission. Have to like make sure that you're all okay, and it's hard. So there are financial consultants. There's a lot more of them out there, and then they can take you through to planning your finances. So what I realized, DIY. I mean, ask yourself this question: do you get to a better body, physical body, better by yourself, or if there's a personal trainer?
Okay.
I mean, this is a simple question. Do you get to better health if your partner cooks for you healthy food, or you cook yourself? Or you won't cook. You'll just go outside. So this kind of questions is the same answer that if you engage someone who knows more about money than you and who's gone through so many clients, been there, seen that, and all that, they are able to help you more than yourself. But the other question I ask is, why do you work? Well, you're already so busy at work. Do you want to DIY? I mean, if you're not so busy at work, it's DIY. And some of us, like myself, love so much DIYing that I became a financial planner. Right? That's kind of career. Join our team. Some of us really like interested, then yes, please, of course, DIY. But some of us find it really hard. We're very stretched. We're very tired. Then engage a financial consultant or a financial planner to help you out. Why is it so important? That accountability, someone to ask you, hey, have you started emergency money? Have you started saving regularly? Have you reviewed what your portfolio is doing? And the other good thing is it's really personalized. It's you and nobody else. You might hear other people's stories, but it's custom to you. And I would say somebody just problem is nothing is free. Just can you please call a QR code and then tell us? I mean, contact my company. We can have a discussion on stuff. Like, we're really interested to get clients who are really interested in managing their money and work with us. Of course, if you're interested in managing and don't want to work with us, then please don't come. Don't torture us. Okay. But we try to give objective advice. Some of us probably slap our clients and have arguments with them. I'm be frank. I think a very good relationship is one that's marked with truth. And each other must be able to take that truth for us to move forward. Right? There's also the whole drama of taking care of your investments. There are hundreds of investments out there. If you're going to take 2-3 hours to understand one, that's what? Don't know how many hours. I would say that's probably half every weekend. Half of the year, every weekend is gone just understanding this investment. Would you rather not exercise, spend time with your loved ones and all that? So there is a difference between torturing yourself and engaging someone, even though it's not free. I mean, you go to a restaurant, I know it's not free. So if some of you are really cash strapped, then maybe please reading the book. It's not that expensive. It's almost 50 ringgit, 49, and sometimes there's sale. And then don't post first if you want to DIY. And you'll find along the way you might need somebody to help you out. But for those who have no time, busy working executive, please engage people. Because you don't even clean your own house. I'm not saying I'm the maid. I'm saying that I help with the finances, or my team help with the finances. And doing something long term, you always need a buddy. So that's my take of you can do both. There is never a right or wrong. There's always what's best for you.
All right. Very well said. So I guess we covered most of the ideas that have been covered in the book, which is In Outcome, Manage Your Income and Achieve Great Financial Outcome by Amelia Hong. So there are a few places where you can actually get the book. Number one is actually the finames.com website, which is owned by Amelia Hong or her company itself. So you can actually go to finames.com/inoutcome book, and then therefore you can actually grab a copy of her book, or you can actually go through the publisher's website, which is acepremier.com /inoutcome. There you go. That's another place where you can actually buy the book, or you can just drop by like myself. I just went to Popular Bookstore, or you can go to MPH. I do not know whether Kinokuniya has it. If it has, then
I think so. Yeah, but it's just
all right. So if I mean to say it's I'm a popular member, so I get it at a discount, 10% discount. Retail is actually $49.90, so I got it for $44 because I'm a popular member. So yep, it's I mean to say it's a very nice, easy to consume, easy to understand kind of book, and it actually covers the gist of personal finance and everything. So you can actually grab the book. Highly recommend it. So go grab yours. And right now, let's address some of the questions that have been asked by our audience for today. So if you have any questions, just feel free to put yours into the Q&A box. All right, let's start off with the first question, which is by Jessica Mock. So Jessica Mock would like to know, she would love to hear your journey about how to publish a book. Is it possible? And she asks, is it possible to connect? Maybe we are looking at a possible future author. Yeah, Amelia, how do you publish a book?
You want me to answer that question? How to write a book? Start with a manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have an idea, and the idea has got to not be half-baked. You have to have a manuscript first before you can publish, because they're going to want to see the manuscript before they publish you. So I suggest writing, spending weekends away. Just first you put what in Malaysia, the Malay word is ada rangka. Ni macam balik masa belajar bahasa. Rangka, then you letak isi-isi dalam, and then you read. You must enjoy reading your own, or ask some people to critique it for you. Yeah, I think that is the start. It's just that idea, and then putting that framework down, and then just fleshing it out. My book took me about a year to write, and then another year to edit. So that is the journey that I went through. Yeah, connect. Please go to my website. My QR code is there. Just yes.
All right.
Okay.
So
maybe next question.
Yes, before the next question, Randall would like to know, can you let potential investors or clients or associates where to find you and your team for consultation? So with that, I'm just gonna unshare this, and what we are gonna do is gonna show you where to find your website. So it's actually FinAims. Okay lah. Let's just pretend that I haven't actually browsed through FinAims. So
yeah, I mean, in my website at FinAims, it's short for financial aims. So FinAims, there's a QR code there, and then you can get to our office. And yes, you can. There's a chat box there somewhere.
Sorry?
You can just there's a chat there.
Chat box.
Feel free to ask questions. You can just
click start chat, and you can chat.
And then you can talk to us. Or we have QR codes inside that links you to our number, and then we can start having conversations. Yes.
Right. So we have all kinds of stuff, and yep, that's Amelia and her team. And,
actually, that's a part of my team. This is part
of your team. Yes.
Yeah. Not everybody. Okay. Yeah.
So
okay. So yeah, you can connect with all these. We have WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah. Just connect. It's quite easy.
Okay. So
yeah. Thank you for that. For that, Randall. Yeah. Once you connect to us, you just let us know what you need. If it is a conversation, or you need to find a consultant that can talk to you about the state of your investments right now, we are available. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, of course. So that is done. That is done with. Now let's move on to Kennedy's question. Kennedy Buddha.
Kennedy.
So in the Q&A box, so I'm going to just read to you. How do you stay invested for the long term, let's say 30 years, and keep ourselves motivated to stay invested despite all the market fluctuations? Are there any investment products that fit the bill to keep ourselves stay invested and still enjoy consistent return in Malaysia? Yes, there is EPF, but
Maybe I get because this question is a few. Someone answer, how do you say this to 30 years in here or somewhere? Remember I said earlier about we're playing the long game. We are going to stay alive for so long. So I'm going to ask the questions. How do you stay motivated to stay alive for so long? We do one thing at a time. And you need to understand yourself a lot. To be able to do something consistently for the long term. There is no getting past it. That's the hard stuff. Understanding yourself and your emotions when it comes to money. So you say, stay invested despite all the market fluctuations. For me, you are facing emotional turmoil when the market goes up and down, which means you find it hard. When it goes down, you're like panicking. This is a bloody stupid investment. I'll never invest again. But you know you can invest. Going through all this is stupid. The reason I can do this is because I understand markets. In the history of the US, you're looking at S&P 500. There are a lot more bull markets than bears. Bull means going up, bear means going down. The average market grows per annum about 11 to 12% per annum on an average basis, not in any one year. For the last 30, 40 years. For the average investor, only earns 3.9 when they invest. Now, what is that gap? That gap between 12% and 3.9% is called emotional intelligence when it comes to financial emotional intelligence. You don't have that. That gap is what happens to people who does not have the financial emotional intelligence. They don't understand that over the long term, the market's going to keep going up beyond its peaks. Maybe one day we'll have a huge disaster, that's a different thing, and the market crash forever, in which case your money is also useless in your bank account, right? So understanding data, understanding your emotions is very important to stay in that long period of time. Like I have been through financial crisis and people behave the same way. So I try to not behave the same way as other people. So when it's very, very terrible, I consider that an opportunity. And unfortunately, that's very difficult for people. When we see red, we see blood, we run away. How do we train ourselves when we see blood to get in? It's with a heart that's open and talking to people who has been doing that. I have a client, really fantastic. I'm not saying please don't do this, but if he was on the channel anyway, every time China goes down, he's buying more. But this is not for everybody. Please don't do this. You cannot survive the aftermath of the emotions you feel when you see somebody. So how do we feel better about that? So let's buy something moderate. If money is right, if you have to invest, just buy an ETF. But if you want to invest, you must stay in ETF. You want your money to work more than what ETF is giving, you have to get out. You have to take your money to invest. Take your ETF money to invest or your cash. Cash gives you more options anyway. ETF list of funds is very small. And invest and then buy something that's moderate. Start off with something that gives you 5%, maybe no bonds. You can't take your cash, you just go into bonds. That's quite stable over time. Maybe not ASEAN bonds, Asian bonds, okay, maybe Malaysian bonds. Our bonds are fantastic. They are quite highly rated if you're looking at AAA, and they're very, very stable. So try it with that. And then when you get braver, you go into mixed assets funds, something that has a little bit of equity and a lot of bonds. And then you keep going. As you grow stronger in your journey, then you can go into all equities. Really up to you. So that conversation is something to be had with the person that's handling funds. I can talk all day. We don't want to do it. I'll come for my seminar. Please, I have to. Okay, maybe next question.
Yes, a related question by Wee Kong Bong. We actually posted a question as followed. I have two investment portfolios, one managed by a financial planner, the other self-managed. Currently, the self-managed one is doing better, mostly due to my financial planner insisting to continue exposure to China. Wait, I'm a bit confused by this question. Okay, now can I instruct him specifically to leave out China investment until the market recover?
Mr. Wee, you are the boss. Yes, you can instruct him to leave China until the market recovers. But I think he has a reason for that. Personally, I sedang mempertahankan my assets in China, meaning I'm still in China. But for my clients that are more susceptible to price going down or feeling the pain, I move them out. But right now, if you've been watching, I think you've been watching, China is really terrible right now in terms of really very low. And the answer, and I'm on this, I'm watching for the next 3 months because there's this really fabulous article in Bloomberg about now is the time for China flashing back. What does that mean? We're in an interesting environment where the earnings of the stocks is more than 5.5% of the yield of the bonds. So bond yield is about 2.8 and the stocks is about 8, and that's a 5.5 difference. Yeah. And there are 5 times in the market that this has happened. And when that happens, within 3 months to 12 months, the market goes up on an average of 57%. Some more, some less. You can go read that article. So the question to ask yourself is that, do you want to exit at the lows? If you believe that China's is going to slide down even more badly, then maybe that's something to consider. I would say maybe watch it for a little while with your financial planner. There's surely a reason why he wants to do that. Perhaps he didn't articulate it enough to the reasons. Again, my advice should be taken with caution, because you are not me. I'm an aggressive investor, and I love it when the market's red, but a lot of people cannot do that. And when it does not turn red, it doesn't turn black. In the next few months, you might be really, really upset. So if global markets are doing fantastically right now, you could go there. You could go to Malaysian bonds. It's all really very comfortable, the Malaysian bonds. So again, Mr. Wee, that's very much up to you. Yeah.
All right.
I can see John is asking where I can purchase the book. Yeah, we've already said that in front. Yeah.
It's on the screen. So, so these are the places where you can grab a copy of the books. So, yep.
Yeah,
you
I
can
hope I
actually go
answered
to
Mr. Wee
MPH.
somehow.
Yep, sure. You did answer Mr. Wee.
And then, likely your portfolio is doing well because you didn't have China. You're probably more exposed to global, and that has been fantastic. If you've been in tech, it's even better. It's an amazing year for tech last year.
Okay.
Yes, next question.
This is to the final question of the day by Paul Nathan. Hi, Amelia. I am about to close a property deal. Looks like he's a real estate negotiator or an agent. And the commission, the profit, is about 50,000 ringgit. Wow. I would like to invest a huge chunk of these funds. Where do I suggest I invest? So he has capital, but no idea what to do. No idea where to invest.
So you're not gonna like my answer. My answer is, first you gotta decide whether you're an aggressive investor or not. Or first, what is your goal? How aggressive you're gonna be? What kind of action will you take when the market goes down, and the kind of attitude you want to have towards your investment? It's like a long thing. While you don't know, park it in money market. while you figure that out. Just make sure that it's just earning every single time. Go get someone to talk to you about that. I cannot answer this question. Yeah, not right. It's not invest in tech or invest in Asia or invest in I can't say because it really depends on you, your personality, your money personality.
Right. So, Paul, I guess it's a classic example of could be having a windfall, a lot of money, but you have no idea. So, the best thing to do, if I'm in your position, have money, no idea. The best thing is to keep your money first. Maybe you just spend $50 lah. Grab a copy of the book, get to know about the author first. Read about other investors, and then from there you see which one is more aligned to your personality and your goals. Then from there you can make a much better decision lah after you have ideas, right?
I wanna maybe say something to as a caution. Bank Negara came out with this thing. I mean, there's so many people going to scams because they're so delicious. Scams are so yummy. 15% per annum, maybe 24, maybe 30, and it's going on for years. It's really wonderful. Just take this acronym TIPU, TIPU. If the benda kata takkan rugi, indah khabar dari rupa. Does everybody understand the end here? Takkan rugi means you will never lose money. Indah khabar dari rupa means it's like more wonderful than it seems. Thank you, Claire. Peluang hanya sekali. One time with this money you mix it, and untung besar, big profit. I would say be careful because this is not my guideline. This is Bank Negara's guideline. Tipu. If anything follows this path, so be careful. Yeah. Always go for government sanctioned products. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I think we've answered all the questions.
Yes, we did, but just once again, it's actually written in your book, page 164, TIPU. Tidak akan rugi. Indah khabar dari rupa, peluang hanya sekali, and untung besar. So all these things are also inside Amelia's book.
No, one more tip about people like me. We will never tell you you're going to make big profits. We would never say that because it's completely wrong to say. You think it's unethical to say it. Yeah, and so then what happens is we are not so persuasive, and I believe, frankly, others are very persuasive. So that's just how we operate. We want to tell you the truth.
I see.
The truth is that you manage your money, and that's what's going to happen to you. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so I guess I mean to say, once again, thank you so much, Amelia, for spending nearly 90 minutes with us over here at kclau.com. Yeah, I mean to say, time flies. I mean, never thought that we have covered so many grounds, from investments to insurance to budgeting and to the psychological part of money management and all this kind of stuff. So once again, we'll definitely recommend Amelia's book. You can get it from all sorts of places. But now, what I would like to do is to give you a an update on what we are gonna do next week. So just give me a moment. I think we have actually lined up another speaker for next week. Oh, okay. Next week we will have PC Wong. He'll be talking about global economy outlook for 2024. So that is PC Wong. So stay tuned for our email invites for that. And yes, that's it for today's interview. There'll be so much more to cover from Amelia. But anyway, Amelia, are there any last words of good advice, sound sound stuff that you may want to actually impart to our audience before we end today's interview?
So it's got something to do with what you said earlier. 100% of the profits is yours, 100% of the losses are yours. At the end of the day, we are the captain of our own ship. Who we take on the ship to help us get somewhere, it's entirely up to you. Choose the people that will take you to where you want to go. Anything that stops you from going to your dream is called a distraction. Okay, so take the book. Take a wonderful financial planner on board, a wonderful lawyer, a wonderful accountant, all of these people that's going to make your journey much smoother. I wish you guys all the best and success to everyone, and happiness and health.
Fantastic. All right, so some of you guys have already put in the chat box saying that, or even the Q&A box saying that you guys have already bought Amelia's book or going to buy. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
And of course, we'll definitely love to get Amelia back sometime in the future, and stay tuned for our next week's webinar. Oh, Mark Song says, bought it from Shopee. Okay, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you so much for supporting.
And yeah, just want to wish Amelia Happy Chinese New Year in advance. And for the rest of you guys, yep, Happy Chinese New Year. And yes, Thaipusam is coming up. So for those who are celebrating Thaipusam, so have a good celebration ahead. Okay, so with that, let's go for lunch. Thank you, Amelia, and thank you so much, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.